This is Gibby Hatton. Since the 1980s, since the mid-80s, actually, Brian, he has been Marty Notstein's coach and has really helped him quite a lot.
Since day one, Gib was a coach in the Air Products Developmental Program that Marty gave credit to at the beginning of his career. And it was Gib that spotted a tall, skinny, gawky-looking kid from across the street and turned him into what he is today, a world champion. Gib is actually the assistant national coach, but he's been Marty's personal coach since Marty began riding.
Notstein in the red, white, and blue ahead of Jeff Solt from Northern California. This is the second ride for both these athletes.
They draw for position in their first ride. The rider drawing number one starts at the bottom of the track and must lead the first lap at a minimum of walking pace. And then they switch positions for the second ride. So it is now Notstein who must lead the first full lap with Jeff Solt stalking along behind him. You have to believe, though, that Solt, even though he is stalking Notstein, that Solt is really the prey here at Marty's home track. And now Jeff goes to the front to try to control the speed of Notstein once again. Maybe he feels like from the first ride there was something he didn't do quite right, and he wants to try to fix it this second time around. In any case, he wants Notstein behind him.
Gibby Hatton, Notstein's coach, again cheering him on. He's behind Solt at this point.
And here comes Marty again. He takes the run into the draft. He's already moving faster than Solt. The crowd comes to its feet, as they do every time Marty races here. And there you can see him closing the ground in that draft. He goes around the outside. The race is over long before the line.
Look at the power of Marty Notstein. Just blows past Jeff Solt, a winner in 2 straight rides.
Like most sprinters, Notstein spends a lot of time in the gym, and he's been training right through these trials. He just stopped lifting weights about 2 weeks ago, and at this point, he could probably deadlift a Jeep. He puts that power to the pedals, and that's why he's a champion.
Hometown hero advances to the finals with that 2-0 record. Well, the men's match sprint not the only competition ongoing here. Earlier we had a chance to take a look at the 1 kilometer time trial. Same number of laps as in the men's match sprint, just 3, but it's you against the clock.
And no one in the United States has been better against the clock than Irv Hartwell, we call him. He has really dominated this event for the last half dozen years. He was upset in the national championships last year by Sky Christopherson, and that upset him very much. Many people will remember quite a scene he caused, but he has come back this year with even more determination and fire, but he's focused that determination into doing what he does best, and that's ride 1,000 meters against the clock. It is interestingly the shortest event in the Olympic Games, and these athletes have the shortest career of any. Just 1 minute, no heats, no qualifying, no nothing. Your whole Olympic career just lasts a little over a minute, you hope.
To tell you the truth, it can be a bit stressful knowing that everything comes down to one chance, one ride, and basically it lasts a minute. And if anything goes wrong, your Olympic dreams are over, so it can be pretty stressful.
Very first Olympian to make America's team in red, white, and blue. He's worn that medal as a national champion 5 separate times. The sprint semifinals continue now. Bill Clay versus Paul Swift, ride number 3 for both these athletes. Clay won the second ride to tie this series at 1 apiece.
Well, Clay came back in the second ride and showed us even more of what we saw at the end of that first ride, that top-end speed. He was able to lead the race from the front because they reversed positions, and he just kept accelerating all the way to the line. And Paul Swift made a late run at him, used a long run into the draft, but just came up short at the finish line because Bill is deceptively fast at the end of the race. Here now, Swift is keeping Clay a little closer. It looks as though he's going to employ the same tactic, which I feel like is a mistake, because Paul has the great mid-range acceleration, but Clay the better top end. Swifty accelerating into the draft, into the third turn. That's right where his mom is sitting, and she's certainly encouraging him on. Now he comes around out of the draft, but Bill Clay just keeps accelerating. And once again, Clay has earned the right to go into the final here against Marty Notstein by using the great top-end speed. He has to come back from 1 down, but he wins in 2 straight rides.
Lorraine Swift in red and white is going to be black and blue if she keeps pounding the top of her legs like that. But unfortunately for her son, Paul Swift, it is Bill Clay who wins this heat as the field narrows in the men's sprint competition in hopes of becoming a member of the U.S. Olympic team. Carol Ann Bostic does not get to race today, but she does get to offer refreshment to her 42-year-old husband, Kent Bostic. Bossasaurus is up when we return. The U.S. Olympic track cycling trials continue now with the first semifinal of the individual pursuit competition. Bossasaurus Kent Bostic at age 42 versus Adam Laurent in the first semifinal. Very practically, this is a race between two riders starting on opposite sides of the track and ending when either one rider catches the other or a certain distance is covered.
And in the case of the men, it is 4,000 meters or 12 laps of the track. That's Mark Whitehead alongside Kent Bostic there. And at trackside, the coaches will be telling the riders, usually in the early rounds, whether they are on a predetermined schedule or whether they are riding a little too fast or a little too slow. They want to pace themselves through this event. Even though it only lasts 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes and 45 seconds, somewhere in that range, it is very much an endurance event. You have to pace yourself very carefully. Bostic, one of the best at it. And he's been around forever, Adrian. We were calling him Bostosaurus 10 years ago. And look, the guy's still here, and he gets better with age.
I've improved every year, and I mean, that's what keeps me going is the improvement. And, you know, if I still couldn't win or be competitive, I'd drop out. But, you know, I'm not doing this just as a participatory sport. I have some goals and some high goals, and I'm doing my best to get there.
He's been racing longer than most of his competitors have been alive. He's been an Olympic alternate 3 separate times, but has never actually made the team.
Well, I can remember Kent in 1977 when I was still racing. Now I'm sitting here talking about it, and he's out there still doing it. Bostic has led this race from the beginning, but only by 2 or 3/10 of a second. We're getting close to the final lap now, and while everyone enjoys Bostic's dream of making the team, they feel like that's what it is, a dream, that he can't really beat these young studs. His coach, Mark Whitehead, has been beside himself throughout the race because Kent has been leading the entire time.
And look at him try to encourage him on there. The thing is, though, Laurent is really coming on strong now.
Really coming on strong is exactly right. He's in his final kick here. He can make up that couple of bike lengths that represents the 2 or 3/10 of a second in this final lap and end Bostic's dream of an Olympic team in his fourth effort. Laurent is going hard. Bostic is just like a machine, however. As he comes to the line, he's going to take it. It's unbelievable. Kent Bostic by 6/100ths of a second. And now Mark Whitehead does his 100-yard dash through the infield to try to get over and congratulate his rider.
42-year-old legs driving a man who says he's got the body of a 20-year-old. As you see, full saddle as he keeps his dreams alive.
Got another 4:36 in you?
Maybe. We'll see.
4:36. 9 riders broke the track record here at Trexlertown, but only one will go to the Olympic Games in the individual pursuit. It could be Kent Bostic, or it could be Mike McCarthy, 1992 world champion. He's pitted in the other semifinal against Mariano Friedrich, the defending national champion, and many say the odds-on favorite to repeat as national champion and to represent the United States in this individual pursuit event. But like Bostic, McCarthy doesn't want to hear about favorites because you have to ride with your heart in these Olympic trials. Events like this have a way of bringing riders up out of themselves even more. You can plan, you can train, you can design a ride, but only with your heart can you actually pull off the kind of performance that brings it out of an athlete when it's the Olympics.
And what we're watching here, Brian, really underscores the fact that Bostic did a fantastic job. We're looking at riders now 21 and 27 years old.
And McCarthy, one of the best and has been for quite a while. World Championship, he became the first American to put a Stars and Stripes jersey on in that individual pursuit event. Mariano Friedrich, whose parents come from Venezuela, has really been a prodigy in this sport. He has been the man, much like Aaron Hartwell in the kilometer for the last several years, and Mariano wins at will. But we haven't counted on the will of a guy like Mike McCarthy, and McCarthy is just absolutely driving it to the line here. Mariano, like Laurent, is making his kick late. McCarthy is led virtually from the beginning of the race, but it looks like Mariano Friedrich is going to come up short. 45/100ths of a second, almost closer even than the race before this. It's unbelievable, and McCarthy is ecstatic.
He is the one who will have the opportunity, or the challenge, I should say, against Kent Bostic for the Olympic berth in the final of the men's individual pursuit. Very tight racing as McCarthy covers the course faster than his nemesis Friedrich. We'll be back in just a moment.
We've also teamed up with General Motors to develop and evaluate new electric